Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, details on Victoria's boil water notices, why city leaders say it could have been prevented. Plus, a hearing in the murder of Edna cheerleader Elizabeth Medina is scheduled to begin. And 2 Texas school bus crashes in one day, how dozens of children ended up in hospitals.
Well, we made it to 101 today, hot and steamy, but then there's some tropical moisture right about here. Should be headed west into our area. What will that mean? We'll have all that coming up in a moment.
And the Calhoun Sand Crabs look to make noise under new head coach Stephen Hernser. We'll highlight how the Sand Crabs teams look later on. Sport.
You're watching 25 News Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shauna Curry. Don Brubaker is off. Victoria City leaders are explaining what caused 2 boil water notices just weeks apart. At a special meeting tonight, the report from a subcommittee found both incidents were due to human error. Things like poor communication, no clear operating procedures, and short staffing. Officials say the problems could have been prevented and that several fixes have already been put in place since July. They say the public deserves better and work is underway to make more of what they call targeted, practical, and effective improvements. A high-profile murder case is set to go before a jury. Today, Fernando Acosta Jr. was in court in Matagorda County, where attorneys told a judge that they are ready to move forward with trial. 25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley was in the courtroom today and has more.
The legal process moves very slowly, and this case has seen multiple delays. Now, 4 years later since Amanda Johnson was killed, this murder trial will go forth in 26 days. Amanda Johnson's remains were found in a burned SUV in Matagorda County. 2 hunters came across her 2018 white Ford Explorer. During the initial missing persons report on Amanda Johnson, Fernando Acosta Jr. was named because he was in a secret relationship with Amanda for about 3 years. Investigators say they found tracks at the scene that match a green 1993 Ford 350 XLT dually truck registered to Acosta. An arrest warrant says surveillance video shows that truck leaving Acosta's house in the 700 block of East Crestwood at 12:11 a.m. on April 17, 2021, and returning at 5:08 a.m. Amanda had a gunshot wound to the head. This murder trial is set for Monday, September 8th at 9 a.m. Acosta is facing 2 other indictments related to the case. Amanda Johnson was a single mother of 2. She previously worked at a health club and was an elementary school teacher at Victoria ISD. She was just 38 years old. Reported in Matagorda County, Ray Mosley, KAVU TV, 25 News Now.
A jury trial in the murder case of an Edna cheerleader is scheduled to start on October 27th. A hearing in the case begins tomorrow. Rafael Romero is charged with capital murder, but prosecutors are not seeking the death penalty. 16-year-old Elizabeth Medina was killed on December 5th, 2023. At the time, Romero was on probation for felony burglary and living in Schulenburg with an expired work visa. The court could hold one more pretrial hearing before the trial date. A Victoria man is indicted by a grand jury on a charge of aggravated sexual assault of a child. Victoria police arrested 37-year-old Andrew Solis on Tuesday at a business in the 1400 block of Elizabeth Street. After the grand jury handed down the indictment, a warrant was issued for Solis' arrest. According to the indictment, Solis is accused of sexually assaulting a girl under the age of 14. A deadly crash in Rockport Tuesday afternoon. Police say 36-year-old Jose Villanueva was riding a scooter at a high speed going the wrong way when he ran a red light at Highway 35 Business and Pearl Street. That's where he slammed into a pickup truck, suffering serious head and facial injuries. Witnesses and first responders tried to save him, but Villanueva died shortly after arriving at the hospital. Police say he was not wearing a helmet, and video backs up witness accounts of what happened. Well, our rain chances are increasing as we head into the second half of this week. Let's go to Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez for a first look outside of the forecast. Mac.
Well, thank you very much. We had a couple of little showers around the area today, but I'm talking about this weekend when all of a sudden tropical moisture is rolling in. Now, first of all, we have that system off of New Orleans, and then we have this. Yes, here it is, right on the Yucatan. If it were in water, it might strengthen, but it's on the land, so it's not going to have a lot of time to strengthen up. But that tropical moisture will be drifting up into northern Mexican coast and then into South Texas, increasing our rain chance. Coming up, we'll be talking about that and taking a look at Erin, the tropical storm that is, in a few minutes. So stay tuned. Back to you, Shauna.
All right, we could use some rain because 2 Crossroads counties are now under a burn ban. Refugio and Calhoun counties went under a burn ban today, effective immediately. That means no outdoor burning of any kind, and you'll want to skip activities that could throw sparks or start a flame. If you see smoke or fire, call 911 right away. In Calhoun County, the Olivia Haterius Park brush pile is also closed until further notice due to the burn ban. A Houston area school bus carrying 58 students was involved in a crash this morning. The Cleveland Independent School District bus flipped on its side during the crash. Officials say students were immediately removed from the bus and no major injuries were reported. The district said students were evacuated and taken to the hospital as a precaution. This is the second bus crash just this week on that same road. And a similar scene outside of Austin. Authorities say 42 children and 1 adult were on board when this bus crashed this afternoon in near Lake Travis, or near Leander rather. 10 people were taken to hospitals, 2 with serious injuries, the rest with non-life-threatening injuries. The bus was reportedly a newer model that was equipped with seat belts. The cause of the crash remains under investigation. Victoria ISD starts the year with some positive news from the spring. The Texas Education Agency's 2025 A through F accountability ratings have been released. No district schools received an F rating. 3 campuses earned an A rating. Those are Mission Valley and Vickers Elementaries and the Early Childhood Center at FW Gross. 7 campuses earned a B rating and 2 campuses improved 3 letter grades from an F in 2024 to a B in 2025. And with school back in session, students have to be up to date on vaccines in order to stay in class. Here's 25 News Now reporter Trenton Whiting with what vaccination rates look like for schools here in the Crossroads.
The school year is starting, and medical providers are urging parents to keep their students up to date with required vaccines. The recent measles outbreak in West Texas is an example of what can go wrong when there's a high unvaccinated population.
Unfortunately, there was a large pocket of unvaccinated individuals. That really allowed measles to take off in that community and spread very, very easily. Measles is a very contagious virus. Luckily, though, for us, to our knowledge, that we don't have a large population of unvaccinated individuals.
There are 7 vaccine groups schools look for in their kindergarten and 7th grade students: a shot for tetanus, whooping cough, and diphtheria, shots for hepatitis A and B, measles, polio, chickenpox, and meningococcal disease. Students may not be allowed to sign for classes without them.
So it's really 2 pieces. You're protecting yourself, your children, and then the community around them as well.
There are rare exemptions for vaccines, but medical providers are still suggesting that students receive all required vaccinations.
In general, for the most part, vaccines have been proven safe and very effective, over decades of use.
The Crossroads had a high vaccination rate at the start of last school year. For a comprehensive report, find it in the Back to School section on our website, crossroadstoday.com. Trenton Whiting, KAVU TV, 25 News Now.
The first day back to school for Cuero ISD students meant some new policies in effect. Cuero ISD updated its vaping policy to match recent state laws, giving schools more flexibility in how they handle vaping cases. Officials say vaping carries serious health risks, and they want to do everything they can to protect students. Under the new rules in Cuero ISD, if a student is caught with a vape device on campus, it will be taken away immediately. One campus is making sure that students kick off the school year with energy and excitement. This morning, STEM Middle School held a back-to-school pep rally to welcome students and get them pumped up for the new year. The gym was filled with school spirit as teachers, staff, and students came together to cheer on the new school year. Faculty members also took the time to help students find their classrooms, organize their schedules, and make sure they knew exactly where to go. Brother Gary Moses, a retired teacher, was also on hand for the event.
And way to kick off the school year is to have something like this. Get all the kids in there, pep them up a little bit before we go to class. Let them know we're here for them. Tell them a few simple things that if they follow, they'll do great this year. We want them to be successful.
All Victoria ISD schools are now officially back in session. And as students across the Crossroads head back to class, we are celebrating the start of a new school year, and we want to see your first day photos. Come to crossroadstoday.com, click on the Back to School banner to submit your pictures. Entries are open until 6 p.m. on Friday, August 22nd. With the first day of the new school year in the books, we're asking, how did that first day go for your household? Anywhere from amazing to chaotic, or maybe a rough start. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote and let us know. And kind of right in the middle there, busy, definitely very busy, making sure everyone gets where they need to be in the morning and then also gets picked up and where they need to be in the afternoons. But thank you to everyone who has voted. And if you have not, we still want to hear from you. The Texas Department of Transportation is hosting 2 public hearings this month on a plan for major changes to U.S. Highway 77 in Refugio County. The changes would upgrade the highway to interstate standards near Woodsboro, along with building a new US 77 roadway east of Refugio. The first hearing is set for Wednesday, August 20th at the Refugio County Expo Center. A second hearing will be on Thursday, August 21st at the Woodsboro School Cafeteria. Here are some of the top headlines in the Cuero Record. The daughters of Master Sergeant Roy Benavides travel from Houston to celebrate what would have been their father's 90th birthday. And a volleyball legend coaches the Yorktown High School volleyball team. To read these stories and more, visit DeWittCountyToday.com. And we are streaming 24/7 on CrossroadsToday.com, so you never have to miss any news, weather, or sports. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10. For the first time ever, a president takes control of D.C.'s police. How the move could reshape policing in other American cities. Plus, bright colors could be hiding unhealthy secrets. What new research has revealed about artificial dyes in popular foods. The Trump administration has won a key ruling in federal court. The U.S. D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals determined that only the legislative branch can sue the White House over changes to congressionally approved budgets. The decision means the administration can withhold funds allocated by Congress and continue scaling back foreign aid grants. The case now returns to district court for further proceedings. It stems from lawsuits filed by grant recipients seeking access to billions of dollars in funding appropriated by Congress but withheld by the administration. President Trump is increasing control over law enforcement in Washington, D.C. A White House official says the National Guard presence will grow significantly tonight. Trump also says he will push Congress to extend federal control of the city's police force beyond the 30 days allowed under the Home Rule Act. That law gives the federal government temporary emergency powers, but keeping control longer requires congressional approval. Sherelle Hubbard has more.
This marks the first time in the Home Rule Act's history that a president has assumed control of the city's police force, but the results are evident, with FBI and DEA agents wearing bulletproof vests patrolling the streets of the Georgetown neighborhood, U.S. Border Patrol agents patrolling Union Station, and armored personnel carriers parked near the Washington Monument. And the White House says this is just the beginning.
We're going to want extensions. I don't want to call national emergency. If I have to, I will.
While the president can assume control of the police department for up to 30 days with congressional notice, any request to control it for longer must be passed into law. President Donald Trump said Wednesday that he'll ask Congress to extend federalization of D.C.'s police force and says he believes Republicans will back his efforts.
We're going to need a crime bill that we're going to be putting in, and it's going to pertain initially to D.C.
Trump has warned other Democratic-led U.S. cities like Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York City to take notice.
It's happening right now here, but this is a risk to every city, every state, every American, because this is fundamentally un-American.
D.C. officials are also issuing warnings of their own to their constituents and beyond.
To protect our city, and to protect our autonomy, to protect our home rule, and make sure we elect a Democratic House so that we have a backstop to this authoritarian push.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
So far, roughly 800 National Guard troops have been activated, with 200 of them designated to aid local law enforcement. The White House did not immediately say how many troops it expected in D.C. beginning tonight, but an official said the Guard's presence would change from a nighttime posture to a 24/7 presence beginning in the evening. A new Gallup poll shows fewer Americans are drinking alcohol, and more believe even moderate drinking is a health risk. Over half of U.S. adults now say 1 or 2 drinks a day is bad for your health, up sharply from 2015. That shift is being led by young adults, but older Americans are rethinking it as well. Only 54% of adults now say they drink. That's the lowest in 30 years. And even those who do are drinking less. Experts say the change comes as more research links alcohol to serious health problems, including cancer. Food dyes are on their way out of the U.S., starting with red number 3. With more, here's ABC's Melissa Adon.
Synthetic dyes are still common in many foods in the United States, especially in candy, snacks, and drinks. Researchers from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics found nearly 1 in 5 packaged food and drink items in 2020 contain dyes. Brightly colored foods might look appealing and often marketed to children, but they're usually associated with containing unhealthy amounts of sugar. Red dye number 3 has specifically been linked to behavioral problems in children and cancer in rats. As a result, California has banned red dye number 3. The rest of the nation will follow with the complete ban in 2027. In the meantime, if artificial dyes concern you, try to buy fresh, whole foods when you can. When buying packaged foods, check the ingredient list. Artificial dyes usually show up on food labels as color additives listed by name and number. With this Medical Minute, I'm Melissa Adon.
Here are some of the top headlines in the Port Lavaca wave. The Calhoun County Commissioner's Court states its opposition to a newly passed Texas Senate bill. And Calhoun County will receive its first National Historical Marker. To read these stories and more, go to portlavacawave.com.
Well, good evening, everybody. We're looking at 84 degrees even at this hour of the night. It was a hot one, got up to 101 today. Not a record, but we're getting up there. Well, the temperatures are not going to change for the next 2-3 weeks, okay? This is the dog days of summer, the last 2 hottest weeks of the summer, and we're just going to have to deal with those temperatures. However, there is a chance for rain as we get to the weekend, and we'll talk about that after this. Well, good evening, everybody. A couple of things are happening for us that might, at least knock the temperature down a little bit. First of all, we have an easterly wave right here off the coast of Louisiana. And then tonight we have this second system that is right about here. Now, it's over land, but it has a potential to continue drifting westward. And I believe that that's going to bring us a little bit of rain chance over the next couple of days. So it's not going to cool down, but at least knock the temperature down into the 80s or 90s would be good with a little bit of that rain activity. Now, a couple of little showers rolled around the area. We had one that went right through here, right on Navarro Street. It came and left in about, I think it was 10 minutes, That's about it. And then last night, we had a storm system that developed in North Texas, came all the way down, got to about I-10 and then fell apart. So no big deal with that either. But you can see here's I-10, how they got a lot more shower activity up there and also in the hill country than we got down here. All we got was a few drops, and looks like the heaviest activity was over there on the way to going away through Edna. They got the shower activity there as well. The heat index is just not going to go away, and like I said, the last 2 weeks of August, nothing really changes in temperatures. So we're going to be hovering at 105 heat index for the next 2 weeks. And I say 3 because usually somewhere around the 10th of September, 15th, we start getting the first frontal system, or at least we're also getting less and less direct heating from in the daytime. So that's hopefully when our heat wave will break. But until then, this is what we're going to have to be dealing with. Now, I was mentioning the peak of the hurricane season. Right about now, we're here. You can see right about there. But the peak goes up between August and then about September the 10th. Okay, and then we ramp down. So basically we're going right now into the peak of the hurricane season, which should be around the 10th of September. And then after that, late September, it winds down real quick. Now, here's that system I was telling you about. It's on the land right now, so its chances of developing are very slim. However, it is a bunch of moisture that's going to be drifting up. Now, the curious part about the northern coast of Mexico, right out here we have the Sierra Madre, which is a huge mountain chain. So the moisture sweeps up into the tropics and then sort of goes up the mountain chain and then gets into our region. That's what I'm hoping happens in the next couple of days. Other than that, we've got Aaron way out in the Atlantic, but by tomorrow it should start to strengthen as it gets away from that dust and should be a Category 3. But as you can see right there, it's a good chance it'll just turn and not hit the U.S. mainland. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on that one. All right, so tomorrow, your day planner for those of you down in Calhoun County, down in Port Lavaca, or I like to say Puerto Lavaca, that's my favorite. 96 will be the high temperature, as you can see right about there. Inland areas, 1 or 2 little errant showers in the late afternoon. Otherwise, you're getting up to way up there at 99, 98. And then, of course, that 20% is for tomorrow, Thursday. Friday is when that moisture starts hopefully drifting in. And so Friday and Saturday, we have a better chance of getting some afternoon showers rolling around the crossroads. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. And now we're talking about Cowboys. Is that right, Mac?
That's right there, Mac. We had some big positive news there with the Cowboys and their owner, Jerry Jones. I'll tell you more about this coming up. Sport. All right, Cross, today we head down there to cover the Calhoun Sand Crabs, which last year they started 0-4 to start the season until they flipped the switch there halfway through the season to reach the regional semifinals before they would lose to Livonia in a tight contest. It was their 24-21. That game will be, we didn't know at the time, but that game would be there. Richard Whitaker's their last game as he retired there after 20 years of coaching there for the Sand Crabs. And now they have a new man in charge in Calhoun, Stephen Herntz, who comes over from Cal Allen. He brings more of a wing tee offensive style. So no more, again, that triple option that you saw for Richard Whitaker that he had there for 20 years for the Sand Crabs. Now you're going to have more, a little bit pass option for their offense, a little bit going into this year, but also they're going to have a new defensive coordinator as well, as Alan Salinas, the past one, the former one, went to Victoria East, and now they have a new man in charge in Greg Gonzalez, who just got him there a couple months ago. So we got a word a couple months back there from Gonzalez and one of their star wide receivers for the Sand Crabs, Isaiah Cabreras, about what they might think about the new defense and offensive schemes this year.
Kids, you can't be physical unless you're strong. So I know Coach Whitaker being here, weight room was a big deal, and we're going to continue that. Football is a physical sport, and you can't be physical unless you're strong. So that mindset, bringing that mindset to a defense is important defensively.
Different, but I mean, it's something we got to get used to and face adversity. You know, we got to work hard to remember all these plays and stuff like that. I mean, I feel good about the plays though. Chance to show my opportunity, like to play ball. I mean, I feel great. I mean, it's better to have the opportunity.
Now, Capral's there last year. He really was only guy that was blocking a lot last year being that triple option offense. I saw him a little bit. He got those passing routes, so he's going to be ready to go there for the season. And Gonzalez is ready to show those defensive side there for the Sand Crabs. They open up the season there August 29th. They're at Yoakum. Now over to Texas A&M Victoria, where they announced there last week their new men's soccer coach, Vince Martinez. Well, they hit the ground running knowing they're going to be in preseason 9th ranked overall there by the entire their NAI. This is a major spot there for the Jags. They return back a lot of seniors here this year. Yair Pena, who had 4 goals last year to help out there, again, the Jags offense. But also they have a lot of people returning on the defensive side as well that are going to be huge there to help out this season. They're going to be in action August 30th there at home versus Oklahoma City University. Now, yesterday we kind of highlighted a lot of volleyball teams in our area across the Crossroads. Well, we had a couple of scores we forgot to mention there from last night, and here's one score with the Ganado Maidens as they defeated the Bloomington Bobcats in 4 sets. They won 25-21. They lost the second set 16-25 to Bloomington before they won the third set 26-24, and the fourth set 25-20. Ganado, they now focus their attention there this weekend at the Yorktown Varsity Tournament starting here this Friday, while Bloomington goes to Van Fleck there tomorrow and Saturday, but then they also have to play in between there on Friday. They're at Palacios. That'll be at 6 p.m. Now over to Tidehaven, the Lady Tigerettes. They faced the Wharton Tigers there last night. They got the win there in straight 3 sets. Tidehaven will also be competing there in the Van Fleck tournament there starting tomorrow for the Tigers. And finally, Jerry Jones has 3 Super Bowl rings, but life has included a major health victory, though, for the owner and for the Dallas Cowboys. He beat in stage 4 melanoma cancer, made that revelation in an upcoming Netflix documentary there about his team. This 82-year-old said he was diagnosed with the disease back there in 2010 and underwent treatment throughout the decade, including a pair of lung surgeries. So according to the Dallas Morning News, Jones said he is now tumor-free, and Jones bought America's team way back there in 1989, and they've won more 300 games since then. So props up to Jerry Jones battling there through cancer, and see how the Cowboys can do this season as they open up the season there on September 4th there. It's going to be a Thursday night game versus the defending champs and the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's going to do it here in sports. Shauna, back to you.
Thank you, Max. Well, stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, she put a ring on it herself. How one woman found her own massive diamond.
Stay up late and I'll tell you all of Jimmy's secrets.
We got the color going on.
We do. We look like Christmas. We're a little gift for everybody.
You see what I mean? Little presents for everyone.
Ooh, look at that.
who were gifted dolls in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene last year are paying that kindness forward. Over the weekend, they packed up dolls for girls impacted by the deadly flooding here in Texas. The girls packed up more than 40 dolls on Sunday alone. The founder of the initiative, which is called Mountain Heirlooms, says it's all about kindness and healing. The girls' mothers also pitched in by writing cards of encouragement to the mothers in Texas.
That's really nice.
Yeah, what a great program. Well, a New York woman found her own engagement diamond, and it's a big one. Mashere Fox spent 3 weeks at Crater of Diamonds State Park in Arkansas, and on the very last day, she spotted something sparkling by her feet. Turns out it was a 2.3 carat white diamond, the third largest found there this year. The park says more than 350 diamonds have been found there so far this year. So out of 350, that was the largest.
And they call it Diamond National Park?
Yeah.
Wow.
Crater, yeah. May have to go check it out.
You would, because the hardest part is when you're just getting married is you're getting her a tiny little bitty thing like for having to hold forever and ever until you find a bigger one.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we've got some hot, steamy weather, but the chances of rain are going to be going up as some tropical moisture headed in our direction. It should be here on Friday and Saturday. I don't think it's a washout, but in the afternoon hours, you will see quite a few little showers sort of rolling around in the afternoon with the heating and that moisture. Otherwise, Erin, which is in the Atlantic, not going to be a problem as far as the United States is concerned. It looks like it's going to be turning and becoming a storm in the North Atlantic.
Well, a Cisco, Texas couple has transformed a piece of American history into a modern getaway. Mary Kay Williamson and her husband bought an 1840s log cabin, get this, on eBay, and they've spent years restoring it. Williamson says the project took 3 to 4 years to complete because nothing in the old cabin was square or level.
Wow.
The couple preserved original elements, including upstairs flooring, door frames. The cabin now serves as a rental property where guests can experience a structure built when Abraham Lincoln was president.
Wow.
Yeah.